Hey scholars, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be focusing on inequality equations. And these equations we're going to be learning in this topic is similar to previous topics that we learned. It may have little twists to it, but it's similar to the one step, two step, and multi-step of the equations, except now we don't have equal signs, we have inequality signs, or these signs that you see here, here, and here. So don't be discouraged. We're going to be going over these, and we're going to first work on the signs first so we can all understand what each sign means. So we have this sign, this sign, this sign, and this sign. These are your four main signs that you'll see, and they go, this one represents less than. This one represents greater than underneath it. And these signs that we see here are similar to these that we have here. But how are they similar? They're similar, but there's only a smaller twist, is that they have this line on the bottom. And this line on the bottom is what I would think of, or how I remember it, is that it's their individual signs plus an equal sign. And that gives you this. Or it's this plus an equal sign, which gives you this. So that's how I seem to remember it. We might have a different way of remembering it, but it's the same concept. So now the first one on the top represents less than or equal to. And the last one represents greater than or equal to. So here you have it. Make sure you take a picture of it, memorize it, because I'm going to erase it, and then we're going to go straight into our topic on inequalities. Okay, let's feel a little bit confident in doing inequalities. First, we're going to do a little bit of practice problems just to get the hang of using the inequalities. So even though we don't have this equal sign, like I said, it's no longer equal sign. We're going to be using these signs in its place, these inequality signs in its place. So let's work on some problems. I'm going to do it in blue. We're going to get the x by itself. So first, I subtract 5 on both sides, and I get x is less than 7. Fair. Next one I'll do in green. 3x minus 4 is less than or equal to 11. I add 4 on both sides. 3x less than or equal to 15. And then we see here that x is less than or equal to 5. The last one we're going to be focusing on, we'll do it in brown. 5 minus 2x is greater than or equal to 11. First, you want to get x by itself, minus 5 on both sides. Minus 2 is less than or equal to 6. And here, divide by 2 on both sides. And x, the value that we have here is going to be a negative 3. But the interesting thing is that anytime we divide across inequalities, the sign changes and it flips. How does it flip? So here, originally, it's less than. As you can see here, I've circled it, but let me try to do it again in a greener color. Here, it's less than or equal to, but when it's being divided, because it's this negative 2 that was being divided on both sides, it now causes the inequality to flip. And instead of it now being one way, it flips the other way. So I'm going to do it in a different color. I'll do it in this. I'll do it in sure, I'll stick with the red color. And it flips over and it becomes greater than or equal to negative 3. Simply because we divided across the inequality. So just remember that step. When you're dividing across inequalities, the sign would flip. Everything stays the same, just the sign changes from greater than, from less than to greater than, or from greater than to less than. Now, inequalities are interesting as well because we see that they come in two different types. They come in or statements and they come in and statements. Or statements are simply when there are two solutions or two inequalities that make the statement true. And simply means that the x value or our value for x will fall in between a range. So let's work on the OR statement first. The OR will work on brown. You see here, there's two equations. Let's work on the first one. We see it's x minus 2 is less than -4. Add 2 on both sides. X here is less than -2. This is the first inequality equation that we get for this OR statement, but we're not finished yet because we have another one, which we'll do in blue. X plus 1 is greater than 6, minus 1, minus 1. X is greater than 5. Simply, the answer here is x is less than -2 or x is greater than 5. This is your first question. This is your first answer for this question. The next one is the and statement will be alternating between or and as you can see, and I'll do it in full blue. And with the and statement, if one part of the variable changes or one part of the equation changes, everything changes. And I'll show you. Here, we want to get x by itself. So the best way to get x by itself is to first minus 3. But where else are we going to minus 3? We're going to also minus 3 on the 2 side and on the 7 side. Because minusing 3 does not only affect just the 7, it also affects the 2. 2 minus 3, -1, x, 7 minus 3 is 4. So this answer here is saying that x is a value that's between a -1 and 4, but we can include 4 simply because it's less than or equal to 4, but we cannot include a -1 because there is, I'm gonna mark in red, there is no line on the bottom of it for it to be less than or equal to. So then this is our answer for this question. So we're gonna work on some more questions just so we can get the hang of it. Pause the video, feel free to pause the video and try to work on this question or work on each and every question before I do it so you guys can get the hang of it. We're just going to run through each one of these questions extremely fast. X minus 4 less than -3 plus 4 on both sides. Let me do a better color. X, so the first part should be 1. The next part, x is greater than 6. So here our value is x is less than 1 or x is greater than 6. Our next line, I'll zoom into. First thing we want to do, since we want to get x by itself, add 5 on both sides. 3x and 9 divided by 3 on both sides, all sides, not just both sides. And we have here 1x 3. Or simply saying that x is divided between 1 and 3. You can include 1, but you cannot include 3. Pause the video and work on these questions, right? Minus 1 on both sides. For this OR statement, 3x is less than or equal to -3 divided by 3. And x here still stays in the same direction, and it is a -1 because we are not dividing with a negative across the inequality. If the 3 here was negative, then the sign would be flipped. This sign would have been different, but the sign stays the same simply because there is no negative on that 3 that we did for the division. So x here is less than or equal to -1. Okay, and our next one, we have here, which color? Plus 5 plus 5, 2x is greater than 14. X is greater than 7. So our answer here simply states that x is negative less than or equal to -1, or x is greater than 7. To work on this question, when we first look at it, we see we want to get the x by itself, -1 on both sides, all sides, or 10. 2 that gets divided on all sides across, 2x 5. We're simply saying that x is a value between 2 and 5. You can include 5 because of the less than or equal to, but you cannot include 2. This is our last set of questions. Do it in brown. Look on the or side, we -7 on both sides. X is less than -5 plus 1 for the other side. X is greater than 7. So here our value says x is less than -5 or x is greater than 7. That's 1. And for our and, whatever we do to 1, we do to all. So we -3 first on all sides. Get -4 is less than or equal to 2x, which is less than 6. Divide by 2 on all sides. And we get -2 less than or equal to x, which is less than 3. We see here that there's a negative, but that does not change our sign because we did not divide by a negative, which I'll mark here in red right here. We did not have it divided by a negative on all sides. So the sign stays the same. It does not get flipped. There you have it. This statement simply states that x is in between -2 and 3. You can include -2 and it will still be correct, but you cannot include 3. That's the end of the video for inequalities. Stay tuned. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe so you can see where you guys are stuck. Don't fail to reach out because we're all struggling, but we're all going to get through this together. So I'll see you guys in the next video, and we're going to be focusing more on inequalities. So stay tuned.